This is Big D and Shade from TacoYaki Anime.
Yo!
And today we're going to be talking about our final thoughts for the spring season of 2017.
And what a season it has been.
Yes. We got 9 shows to talk about today. This season was a good season. There's a lot of sequels.
Go ahead.
I've been busy, so I haven't been able to watch all of them. There's a few that I really wanted to see but didn't get around to. But I'll get back to them one day.
And we haven't. I'm going to ignore that because, we haven't heard that like umpteen billion times before, but, we'll see.
All right. First show we're going to be talking about is the big show, Attack on Titan Season 2.
Oh, yes. This has been a huge thing. I'm sure many people have already watched this and are aching at the bit for Season 3, which I hear Season 3 is supposed to be sometime next year, I want to say.
Yeah, I've heard that also.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's probably going to be the case, because just like they did with Season 1, they left Season 2 right at that cliffhanger where they introduced a big thing, and then they're like, and that was the final episode for the season. Stay tuned for next season. Everyone's like, no! What the hell? Wow. So, yeah, there was a huge amount of information that was put forward throughout this season, mainly of which what we were saying before from our first initial thoughts for it was that, yes, people are Titans.
Yes.
Which, I mean, you look at Titans, you're like, that kind of makes sense. They just look really overly large people with like no genitalia or anything like that. So, just be kind of scary otherwise. But anyways, yeah, it's just you end up finding out the identity of the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan, both of which are people that we know from the show. And then at the end, like literally, I just watched it today, and literally at the end, I'm still trying to process it. It hasn't like completely sunk in as far as what the hell's going on. But what I was saying before about there being like multiple factions involved.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that.
It kind of seems like that might be true. Like there might be even another faction inside the wall that's trying to do. I think like the church is a faction. And the military is a faction, and then I almost want to say there are 2 factions outside the wall that are also kind of vying for control or power or whatnot. And it's really complicated and confusing and whatnot, and even the ending of it was just kind of like, because, okay, the 2 people that ended up being the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan, they saw the Beast Titan, and they had no idea.
Okay.
So, like, they're part of a faction because afterwards they kept talking about going home and they wanted to bring Eren along, but they had no idea about the Beast Titan, or at least they didn't seem like they had any idea about the Beast Titan. And then at the end, with Beast Titan, you see the Beast Titan sitting on the wall, and he had somebody wearing glasses who looked incredibly ripped on his shoulder, just sitting there.
Okay.
And was just saying, well, let's see how things go from here. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to forget how his father looked from Season 1. I don't want to say that was his father. Okay. It might have been. But it was like, yeah. And something the Beast Titan did was how people started to become Titans. Or at least that's kind of how they were implying it. But, like, at one point, they were... and there was another person also in Squad 104. There were like 3 people in Squad 104 who were actually Titans that no one knew about. Because there was one that was Colossal, one that was the Armored Titan, and then a third one that I'm not sure they even introduced before this, but it was ended up being a Titan, and you end up finding out. And just the way that she became a Titan, I don't know if like she just had the potential in her. And she did, because they show, God, it's so complicated. Like, they show she was, like, a part of this cult. And then they end up getting, like, the police come in, they break it all apart, and then they drag the cult through the streets. And it looked like they were on top of the wall. and they did something. I can't say what. They did something to them. They had them tied up, like kneeling on the wall. They did something to them, and they pushed them off. And then by the time they hit the ground, they were Titans. Yeah, and I'm like, what? And it wasn't until she consumed a human that she became human again, and is now able to go back and forth between.
Oh, okay.
Just like Eren does, where he hurts himself and he'll become Titan. So like pain's a trigger, but it's just like and the very last part of it, I mean, I'll at least say this: the very last part of it, Eren does something. I don't know what he has an emotional breakthrough with Mikasa, and they're about to get eaten, and he basically yells at the Titan in like an authoritative order, and there were a whole bunch of Titans around them attacking their friends. All of them stop, look up at this Titan, and they go just attack it. Yeah, it was crazy. And then the armored Titan was coming for him, and he says, "Stop, don't come any closer." And all the other Titans that were attacking the one stop what they're doing and go after the armored Titan then. So he was controlling the Titans, not like the ones that were human. The ones that were human could recognize it as for what it was, and I still don't know. They didn't really explain, but he was able to basically give them orders. He was moving them around and telling them who to attack. Okay. And after that, like, all the humans left, all the scouts and everything left, and even when they came across other Titans on their way back home, they completely ignored them. All the other Titans that they were coming across were all still going after the armored Titan. They didn't stop. It was weird, but it's like they didn't really see again. Just like that, they didn't really explain it. They're just like, well, we now know Titans are humans. Eren has this ability to basically control Titans, and that's the end of the season. And we're like, what? Excuse me. I think there's a bit more information that needs to be said here. You're missing a key elements here. What the hell's going on? Explanation? No, you gotta wait till season 3. Screw you guys. But yeah, that was basically it. But it was just like, that's just weird and freaky and whatnot. So I don't know. It was a lot of good stuff. Fight sequences were awesome.
Was it worth the wait?
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes, it was worth the wait because it was awesome. Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't worth the wait because now you got to wait for season 3 anyways to find out what else is going on. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Okay. It was great action, and just overall, kept me engaged the entire time. There was a little, I don't know. There's a little miscontinuity, and I remember reading on some of the comments, people were commenting about it too, how like at one point Eren got ripped from his Titan form, but he ended up getting his arms like gone, cut off, like severed basically. But he's Titan, so they'll grow back. Even in his human form, they'll eventually grow back. So he's fine, but like he has to wait for them to grow back. But for some reason he couldn't transform, and they try to make an explanation of, oh well, his body's having to recuperate and it's using all of its energy, he can't do that. But it's like I seem to recall times when he didn't have limbs and yet he was still able to transform into his Titan state, and it was like an automatic regen essentially. So I'm just not 100% sure how, if they're following their own formula here, or if they've kind of gotten off track, or something weird's going on that they just haven't let us know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So there are a little miscontinuities here potentially, but I mean overall, yes, it was a great story. It was nice to be able to get the information. You get to see who the Colossal Titan is, who the Armored Titan was, and all these like surprises and stuff like that, and it's great. It's just now it's once again waiting for the next season to come out for like probably another year. So
okay. Another big thing that we were talking about last time was the basement.
Yeah, and once again that was never mentioned the entire time. Was not like the closest they got to it was the fact that they mentioned it because they were talking about the Armored Titan or the Colossal Titan, and he kicked that giant piece of the wall that landed on his house, which is how his mom got pinned. Which I mean, kind of is where the basement is, but that's closest they ever came to the end information. So Yeah, we're still kind of. But it's like at this point, I'm almost like, do we even need to go to the basement? We already now know that Titans are people, and that's how they originate and they come from. We already know that now. So it's kind of like, what other like brilliant piece of information can we possibly glean from going to this basement and finding out what his father left for him? I don't know, but regardless, I mean, yeah, it's always, it brings back my memories of like kind of like Neon Genesis Evangelion, where they're fighting. You got two colossal things fighting against each other. And that's like that feeling when I saw Eren and the Armored Titan fighting against each other, and I'm just like, it's massive destruction and just things flying everywhere, and yeah, cool. So yeah, good times.
Okay, cool. Well, I am gonna wait a little bit before until probably the next. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm waiting until the next one's announced, and then I'll watch it right before the new one comes out. So
that's what I did with the first season into the second season. But then I rolled right into the second season and then finished that one, and now I'm pretty much like everyone else and having to wait. So, anyways.
Yeah. The next show I'm going to be talking about is Granblue Fantasy, the animation.
Oh, yes, Granblue Fantasy. Okay. I have a love-hate relationship with this. I really do. Like, the story and premise behind Granblue is awesome. I like it. It's it's an adventure, which is cool. Kind of like that one you were talking about with that you want to see for next season, the little kid who was going on an adventure. This is kind of that same lines. Here's the kid who's wanting to go see his father, who went on an adventure, and now he's trying to retrace his footsteps. And also, I kind of feel like this is very similar to like Hunter x Hunter in that way, because that was the same thing with that one too. Which is cool, and it's nice seeing an adventure, and you see him go to new places, and there's always like some giant power of whatever that he has. Like him and his crew have to help and whatnot. And it's great, it's always interesting little things. We saw Leviathan, we saw Bahamut, we saw like some tree fairy goddess or whatever, and like all of them are like really cool. And it's like, this is great, this is awesome. Nice. This is the epitome of fantasy.
Yeah.
You got the magic, you got the giant monsters, you got like, sword fights, and it's just like, this is awesome, love it. And then comes the part where I feel like they tried to be too close to like the game, and I feel like there was some information that was not that was part of the game, and that people who played the game know. But then if you're just watching the anime, like I am, freaking clueless, and you're like, wait, how did that happen? Who are these people? I don't remember these people. Were these people introduced? I don't remember these people. Okay, like I'll give you an instance. Like one of the times it was with the thing with Leviathan. And Leviathan wasn't bad. It was just the fact that there were like the Empire had been dumping toxins into the ocean, and it had polluted Leviathan, and then he was just going berserk essentially. So he was launching like all these fish monsters at the town because it was just going berserk. And I mean fish monsters, like these were like the size of like large dogs, and they looked like piranhas kind of things. So they were like
I was just imagining fish, and he's like this.
These things were like flying fish kind of things. But so anyways, they needed to get to Leviathan in order to stop him. But of course, there's all these fish monster things attacking and whatever. So they're like, well, we need help. And the town's like, oh, we'll help you. And I'm like, okay, great. He has a whole bunch of people, soldiers from the town or whatever. And then all these adventurers in the town started to show up and do, don't get me wrong, really freaking cool things. But it was like half of them, the crew seemed to not know, and the other half they seemed to know. And I'm like, wait, were they introduced before? Did I miss this? They're cool, don't get me wrong. They're awesome. I love watching them do the shit that they do, because like there was this one girl, and I always it's stereotypical anime. Like she was calmly walking, and she had a katana on her side, and all of a sudden like the shish come charging in, and you just like just before they get there, you do that classical move where she like tips the sword where it like just comes barely out of the sheath, just barely, and all of a sudden you just, and she's like in front of the fish, and all of a sudden they just, and you're like, yes, that's always cool. And you know what? It's time and time again I've seen it, but still damn cool to watch. But like, yeah, like you're looking at these people going, where did they come from? Where were they when the Empire was attacking before? I'm really confused here. I mean, they're cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm confused. And then I have a problem with the last episode for, I don't know if it's a season or whatever, but last episode was the obligatory beach episode. But get this. Not only was it the obligatory beach episode, they decided, okay, so the main story has always been, like you could say the two main characters are the guy and the girl, correct? From the very beginning.
The guy and the girl. Blue-haired girl? Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty much the main characters because they kind of everything revolves around what they're doing and whatnot. Because I mean, it's the guy's adventure, but the girl's trying to help all these powers that be or whatever.
Yeah, their lives are linked. So
yes. Okay. All of a sudden, on first part of the 13th episode, they decide to replay bits and pieces of the rest for the first part of this whole thing from the very beginning, and now they made the guy into a woman. Yeah. For no reason whatsoever, other than this is the beach episode, and they're going to be on the beach, so everyone's wearing bikinis. See? So it's like they could have been just fine if they wanted to do the beach episode, leaving him as a guy, but they made him into a woman, and they're just like, and now everyone's okay with this, and we're just rolling with it, because this is what's going to happen. Look at it go, what? Why? No. No. And literally that episode had no bearing and no purpose whatsoever. Like none. I mean, I've known some beach episodes to go like, okay, we'll give you like little tidbits of story, or we'll just be like, character development. No, none of that whatsoever. They're going to have fun at the beach, and then there's going to be an incident where all of a sudden the ice that these people are getting from the island next door, they can't get it anymore. So they're going to go over there, and it's going to be the Empire, of course, because that's the bad guy. And for no reason other than the fact that they're the bad guys, they're taking all the ice for themselves, and they're not giving anything to everyone else. So then everyone has this big battle hullabaloo, and you don't see most of it because it was kind of funny, at least in that, and the fact that the female knight came behind the blue-haired girl and actually covered her eyes, and all you hear is the sounds of the Empire soldiers going, oh god, no, oh what are you, because like all their friends decided to come and join and take in part of destroying the Empire, and then next thing you know, all you see is just the Empire running away to the high hills. So I mean, that was funny, don't get me wrong. But literally, no point whatsoever. None. Had nothing to do with story, nothing to do with there was like vacation episode, everyone's relaxing, having fun. We have this incident with the Empire, and then we go back to having fun, and end of story.
So the definition of a filler.
Yes. I have stood up for some filler episodes from some animes and being like, okay, at least again it gave you some depth into the characters, let you explain them a little bit more, whatever, or at least has like a tag into the leading into the story. Yeah, no. None whatsoever. This literally should not have happened. They should have ended it on episode 12 and said, okay, we're going to continue next season. Instead, they're like, we're going to add episode 13, and it's going to be no purpose. We're just going to throw them into a beach. That's all it's going to be. I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are killing me. You had a good season. You had a good series. I had very little faults with it. And now you're like, go away. So,
well, yeah, it sounds cool. I actually started watching some of this like at the beginning of the season. I watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes. So, or maybe only watched one. I don't know. They left in the.
Yeah, I think that was the first 2 episodes.
Okay, so I saw one 2 seasons ago, and then I saw another one this season.
Yeah, because they did it weird where they like started it 2 seasons ago, but then they just they put 2 episodes out.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah, so it was a cool show. Like after watching the second episode, I was like, okay, I'm on board with this, and then I never got back to it. But yeah, I'm interested in the series.
It's a really good fantasy series. I mean, hey, you like fantasy, this is like epitome of fantasy. It's just don't ever watch the 13th episode on season 1. Just don't.
All right. I may treat this one like I'm going to treat Attack on Titan. I'll just wait until the next season's about to come out, and then I'll watch it.
And just make sure not to watch the last episode.
Yeah.
That way you can roll right into the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways.
The next show we're going to be talking about is Clockwork Planet.
Again, this is another one where I'm like, it has a wonderful premise. I enjoy the premise of it. It's just the execution, I guess, is not the greatest as far as it goes. And like the overall aesthetics, the artwork and everything, and the fact that like everything's art like clockwork, because it's all a big giant machine. The planet is like a big giant clock, and it's great. You know, that's a cool concept. I enjoy that. The fact that the person who created it had androids that were very specific and personable, and like they were like the high end, no one's been able to duplicate before, and this kid ends up getting one and fixing her and actually making her work. Like there's a lot to like about this anime, and then it's just like, I don't know, maybe this is because they try to touch too many bases. They try to do too many things, and they can't focus on any one thing, so they keep moving around, and then they never really fully accomplish or feel like they accomplish any of it. You know, you try to get the emotional side of it, and it just kind of falls flat. And the overall storyline for it, like they had the world, they created the world, which is a great world. The universe that this lives in is freaking awesome, because it seems like it has so much lore behind it, and yet you're looking at it going just like, what? You know, I don't know. I enjoy it. I'm hoping, like, you only ever see 2 androids, and I'm hoping they find more, because apparently there should have been more, because there's like each one of these androids she comes across is a different series, and each one has a specific purpose, and each one has a specific power involved with it. And it was really cool to see and figure out each one and see what each ones can do. Like the one girl could like basically stop time almost with her ability, and then another one had like just absolute like berserk mode, essentially, where like something that was not supposed to be capable of being destroyed, she damn near close to annihilated, damn near. And yeah, and the fact that there are people who, I don't know, like there was one person who basically was tired of the world that they lived in and thought it just wasn't worth it. So he was trying to destroy the world. I get that. Like that's okay. That's a reason. It's not a great reason, but hey, it's a reason. I get that. But like in the very beginning, the military was also a part of that, as far as wanting to destroy at least part of like different cities. And I didn't get that. I'm looking at it going, wait, you're the military. You're supposed to protect. What? Why are you? What? Why are you part of the bad guys trying to destroy parts of the world? It is just, yeah. I'm like, And then like the military was like part of the ending of where they were trying to stop the dude who was trying to destroy the entire world, and yet they were also having to deal with the military at the same time. And literally I'm just looking at it going, could you just tell them, screw off, we're trying to fix this problem, we don't have time to deal with their BS. You know, so it was just, it like, if I had to give this anime a grade, I would say it's probably like a high C. Not bad, not great. You know, it's got like a grade of like an 80, you know. So I don't know. It had a lot of fun moments to it. I enjoyed the relationship between the androids and the main character. It got a little bit like hectic at certain points and whatnot. The action was solid, like gunfights and whatnot. There was one character I think that they tried a little too hard on, because it was an android that ended up, they needed to replace into another android body, but it was a guy, and he was very like perverse or like rude. Like he had no filter, none whatsoever. Say whatever the hell he freaking wanted every single time. And they put him inside of a female body. of like a sex worker used to be, but they enhanced him for like battle capabilities. So you see like this sexy android looking dude going into battle with like a high powered sniper rifle, saying, you know, things like, "Oh, I'm gonna jam it in you so hard you're not even gonna know what," you know. I'm just like, "Whoa, dude! I'm not even sure what I feel about this. Please, let's just carry on. We don't need that, you know." It's like, it's almost like those instances where you find in animes where they have people who speak English,
English.
Yeah, English basically, and you're looking at them going, "Stop." You're just, you know, you're not the words are there, but they're not like the way they should be. Just stop it. Go back to speaking Japanese and I can read subtitles and we're all good. That's fine. You know, this is the same instance with that too. So I don't know. I enjoy it. Like, again, the world is great. I enjoy the two main characters in it, the boy and the girl that they had. Because I mean, the boy is great. Her being able to, like, he'd take off his headphones and he could literally hear what was wrong with the machine.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And then the girl being able to, like, eventually she became, like, her perception and her ability to move became so finely acute. Like, her perception became, like, all encompassing, which was great. It's like the power of it. I'm just like, that's freaking awesome. The just abilities, you know, that they were developing. But I don't know. It just, and then like they kind of left it. I don't know if they're going to do anything more with this, because it seems like they kind of left it where they're like, oh, well, now they're traveling the rest of the world. The boy, the girl, his two androids, her bodyguard, and this other sexy android that they put together are now all traveling the world in order to fix what's wrong and keep the world running, essentially. That's pretty much how they ended it. I mean, you know, they drove away on a cruiser boat kind of thing, and then the military were after them on battleship carriers, essentially, and so they turned around and they're like, you know what? We're going to take one of those. And I'm like, and that's where they ended it. And I'm like, I'm not sure what I feel about that. I just, you know, hey, kudos for trying, but I don't think I don't know what you were doing. And if you were doing something, I'm not sure you accomplished it. I don't know. So, yeah.
Okay.
Not the worst show I've ever seen. Because, I mean, I still feel like that one that me and Ray watched, the one that we said that had the bad English before. You remember that one, right? It's the one that had like the kid who had the shadow power that would like turn things into oblivion or whatever. Like
the void power.
Yeah. That one was by far worse than this one.
Okay.
But this is still not like, you know, grade A, like, oh, this is amazing, I'm totally psyched for another season kind of thing. It's kind of like, well, I might watch another season of it. I'm not sure they're gonna do another one, and that might actually be a good idea. I don't know. So, anyways,
okay, yeah, it's another show that I didn't get around to. There's something about it that I couldn't like sink my teeth into, and then you had mentioned the special power. So if I do visit it again, it'd probably be to see what powers you're talking about, because I know as you said, you like the powers. So I'm curious to see what they look like. Also,
oh yeah, the transformation. Just awesome. Watching from the androids and stuff, I'm like, yes, I want to see more.
So I may continue in the future. I don't know. But next show we're going to be talking about is Dungeon 2.
Oh, Dungeon 2. Okay, so I have not. I know I said I haven't actually completed the entire thing. I'm thinking I have one episode left.
Okay.
I think. But Dungeon 2. This is another love-hate relationship. It's a love-hate relationship, but it's more towards the love than the hate. And I think the only reason why I have a love-hate relationship for it is what we've already talked about before, is the fact that it's not, technically speaking, Dungeon 2. This is like Dungeon
1.5.
Well, yeah, 1.5. That's what it is. Not Dungeon 2. This is Dungeon 1.5. Because we're rehashing over where we've already been. This is already something we've already known and whatnot. the reason why it is good in its own right, I will say this, is because again, you're seeing the story from Wallenstein's perspective, and yeah, she's not overly talkative, but we've already kind of known that she never really was, and thankfully there was a lot more like internal monologue pieces where you could actually get a little bit more perspective, because you just weren't getting a whole lot from her. Also, luckily, a lot of the people in her house are more talkative for her, so it kind of filled in some of the gaps where she would not normally talk. And I get that, totally out of character if she were to like be a jabbermouth all of a sudden in this one, when you're like, wait, the entire time we were watching her before, she hardly said 2 freaking words together. Yeah. Why is she now all of a sudden, talking 50 miles an hour? So, absolutely, I totally see that. There was more going on behind the scenes that you just weren't aware of, and I think that's awesome. I like seeing more about the gods than just. I can't even remember the god that he's with. Do you remember her name? Because in the first season, like they interspersed the gods, but primarily it was just her, and you didn't really see her that much. I think most of it was like split mostly between like 30% her, and then like 70% was with the dude and the guy and whatever. But this one has Loki in it a lot more. And I don't know, I like that. I like seeing more interactions with the gods and the more behind the scenes dealing with that. I don't remember. You've seen the first episode, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The elven chick. You know what I'm talking about, right? The elven mage? No.
No.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. Okay, even in the little picture you have for it, to the right of Wallenstein, the white-haired and the pink dress. Or the white girl in the pink dress. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. I don't remember seeing her in season 1. Do you?
It's been so long now. Okay.
It's like, I don't know, the continuity of it, like since they were trying to do something they would take from the past and bring it into, rehash it over again, but from a different angle. It's like, I don't remember that character. I remember all the other characters. That's fine. I do not remember that character. And she kind of plays, like, she's there in scenes where I'm looking at it going, I don't remember seeing her in that scene. So why did that happen? So I don't know. I feel like if you're going to do something like this, fine. Definitely. If you feel like there is more to be told than what was already told in the first part of whatever it is that you're doing, whether it be an anime, a story, a movie, a video game, great. Totally behind you on that if it's something worth saying. But if you're going to do that, make sure that what you put forth does not contradict what was done before. So, I don't know. It's a fun little adventure. It's kind of like a little bit of nostalgia, seeing things, certain instances all over again, because they did the Minotaur fight again. Okay. You saw that, but now it's from her perspective and whatnot, which is great. And trust me, like, again, seeing that fight, from all over again, it's like sent chills up and down my back. And I'm like, yes! Oh, I love this fight! Because he's freaking badass on this fight. I love it. I don't know. It feels like I keep trying to debate in my mind whether or not it was totally worth doing this, rehashing, and doing like we said, a 1.5 instead of just going directly on to season 2. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I'm kind of torn. On the one hand, I do enjoy the fact that we did see a little bit more about Wallenstein. We got a little bit more information on the going-ons behind the scenes, and that there was more going on than what we'd originally anticipated and saw. That, there's a awareness that the dungeon is falling apart, kind of, and that there's something else going on. But I don't know if it was really necessary to do a 1.5, or if they could have gone season 2 and done like maybe a few flashbacks to explain what was maybe going on where we missed it and didn't see it, for the first season. Okay. So I don't know. I'm torn. I like it, Because again, it's Dungeon. Why can I not? How would I not like it? It's Dungeon. I love Dungeon. Dungeon's awesome, but I don't know if the season was really worth what they did and put forth through it. Battles, great. Revisiting, old friends. It's like rereading a book that you haven't read in years. You're like, oh, this is friends we haven't met and redoing things we've already done, but hey, this is an adventure. We know where we're going, we know what we're doing. This is awesome. Oh, I don't remember that, but hey, let's keep going. And that's pretty much what it felt like. So I don't know. Characters are great as always, except for the fact that I don't remember the elven chick being in the first one. It should have been if she was an integral role as she is now. And I don't know, seeing the other characters that you didn't really see too much because we were focusing on I can't remember the kid's name. Damn it. I had it. Now I forgot. See, I'm bad with that too. So, but yeah, seeing more of the other characters besides him was nice.
Okay.
Again, I'm just not sure if it was worth going to 1.5 or if we should have just gone to 2 and just called it good. So, anyways.
I guess as far as leading up to 2, well, the 3, if they make another one, do you think they kind of set it up and be like, remember, we're going to be doing something awesome next time?
Again, I haven't kind of just last episode.
That's right. Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to wrap it up or end it. I have a feeling I have a feeling though where they left it on the one I watched before, we're going to end it at the exact same spot we ended it before.
Okay.
Exact same spot. I'm not sure if more information will be revealed because we're revisiting it in the way we are, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much like exact same. So, am I going to be excited for season 2? Absolutely, because I love this. I love the series. Was it necessary to go down this trip in memory lane from now season 1.5? I'm not so sure.
Okay. All right. Just like all the other shows, when the next one comes out, I'll catch back up. But
okay, so the ones we've seen so far, I will say this: do you need to watch this season in order to watch the next season that comes out for Dungeon? I don't think so.
No,
I think it would. I don't think it would be a necessity. Is it nice to? Might they make a few references you're not like sure of? If you don't, maybe. But you've almost gotten everything down from season 1, anyways. You know what I mean? So, if anything, watching that might be more of like a refresher, but that would probably be about it. Clockwork, you could probably skip. I wouldn't worry about. Granblue, might be a good one for you. Attack on Titan, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if they when they announce the 3rd season, if it does come out, then I'll watch this one and to prep for that one.
See, and I would say this, like with Clockwork, I wasn't sure they were going to do another season. This one, yes, they will do another season.
Yeah.
We haven't really continued from the last one, technically. Yeah. So they should be doing a continuation if they did a 1.5. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So.
Watch it be like 1.6 and it'd be from another person's perspective.
Oh my God. I would totally. Or they're like, well, this is Dungeon 0.5. We're going back into the past.
Oh my God.
Before all of this happened. Be like, you suck. Screw you. Let me know when you finally get around to Dungeon 2.
That would be funny. All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is a show I actually watched. Woo! Eromanga Sensei.
See, you actually watched, and I never finished.
All right. This show is very, very different. Like, there's a term in this show that they mentioned, and I don't know. Like, it's a perfect term. Like, it's a perfect term if you understand this genre of anime. If you don't, then it's just a weird term. And they call it Erokyu, which is like pervy cute.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and if you're into like those types of shows, which I've seen the show that a few characters from there's a few cameos from some characters that show up in the show, and I've watched the 2 seasons of the other show, which is Ore. My sister can't be this cute. I can't remember the short name, but and when they showed up, I freaked out. I was like, ah! But so this show is a perfect cute show. It's a cute show. And it's one of those shows where the main character likes his sister, and they're not related by blood, so technically there's nothing wrong with it. But they keep saying brother and sister and brother and sister, and they confess to each other and stuff like that. So I'm like, I feel weird about this show. Like, yeah, if they took the relationship out, I would be 100% on board. Like, yeah, whatever. It's like,
I don't know. I think I had an problem with it only because of their quote unquote the neighbor. God, she annoyed the hell out of me. She was annoying. Anyways,
yeah. So as far as the neighbor goes, I liked her until somebody called her a tsundere, and then she started being all bashful. She's like, oh, it's not like that, and like being like that's
like no. It's exactly like that. That's exactly how you are.
Yeah, and it's she was a better tsundere character before somebody called her that, because after that, then she started repeating the cliche lines, started acting out the cliche scenarios and stuff like that. So up until then, I really liked that character, but then after that, she went from my favorite to like she's just another character in the show, and I actually liked the other characters better. So basically, the premise of the show is that the guy, this girl in the picture's brother, is like a manga. He's a writer, and she ends up being his artist, drawer.
Yeah, his artist.
Yeah, and they basically publish a bunch of light novels and mangas together. Their history is actually way more intertwined, as you find out later on in the series, which made that relationship really cool. Other than the brother and sister thing, I think if they weren't related weirdly like that, I think it would be a really cool romance, because there are a lot of parts where like jealousy would show up, and like he'd be like, no, it's not like that, and then like he would actually confess things like. He's like, well, do you like her? And he's like, well, yeah, because of this one situation that happened. And then but he's like, but I like you more. And then he would like explain things away. And I'm like, that's really, really cool for them to like just express their feelings and be 100% honest. Yeah. So I love characters like that. Just like with Kobayashi Maid Dragon. That's why I loved Miss Kobayashi, because she would just say everything that's on her mind. She would honestly think about something and then just express everything. And I love characters that like that. So I love this guy from this the main guy in this show. As far as like the neighbor girl, like I explained, she was a good tsundere before, but then she became cliche. There are a lot of other side characters. They basically tried to make another Kuroneko from the other show and put her into this show, and she was cool. She wasn't like one of my favorites, because I don't know. There's like she didn't get as emotional as Kuroneko did in the other show, so I couldn't like latch onto her as much, and so she kind of seemed like a watered down version of that character. And there was like a couple of like running gags that would all like as soon as somebody would explain this strange situation to her, and then she'd be like, no, and he's like, oh, but he's gonna be here, and she's like, oh, okay, I'll do it, and I'm like.
Well, see, there was a character. There was a character like that in Dungeon though too. One of the females, one of the swordsmen, the twins, were constantly hanging around the boss, the one who was. She had like this thing for him. She would absolutely hate something or to do something, and then the boss would be like, "Hey, could you do that for me?" Oh, absolutely, yes. Oh, yes, sure. And everyone just kind of looks at her like, "Really." Really?
So so that's like an average trait. Like it's not something bad. It's just average. And like I feel like my favorite character,
I think that kind of just depends upon how it's portrayed.
Yeah. So
it can be a good thing, and it can lead to like just, you know, character development, but also, you know, making a nice little jab in the story or whatever. But sometimes they just don't do it well. They don't accomplish that.
Yeah, I feel like for this show, she was like, that trait was average. Like it could have been like, there could have been something else that like just got me like Kuroneko does. It's like, it wasn't even her show. But as soon as Kuroneko walked down the screen, I was like, oh, hey, girl, where you been? So
like an old friend saying hi.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I'd say if this there's they get really raunchy in this show, like not stereotypical anime, or it's like raunchy, weird, like this girl in the image is a perv. Like
yeah,
like they push limits really weird. But I've seen shows that push it farther. But like for her to be as cute as she is, they push her character like as far as the cuteness will let it before it starts getting weird. And it probably got weird for like a lot of people. But
well, I mean, they had, if anything, from what I've watched, like they had that one scene where they kind of halfway showed her changing, and you're just like, can we not do that? Can we just carry on without? I don't really need to watch this.
Yeah.
What's going on here? It wasn't bad. I've obviously seen worse, but at the same time, you're just like, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's like she's such an adorable character. It's like, I don't want to see her in this light. But they don't make it to where I'm like, no, how dare you do that to the character? It's like come on, guys, like please stop. Like what is the neighbor doing? Can we go see what the neighbor's doing? Because I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, it's just shy of being bad.
Yeah, and so I really like the show. If they come out with the second season, I'll definitely watch it. Like I love how both of them have a goal and they're like just shooting for that one goal. And you have some of the other characters who show up who are rivals. Like basically everybody's rivals, but it ends up still being kind of a harem. So it is a harem, like 100%. So yeah, like the main two characters are in love with the main guy, and even the side characters are in love with him too. So it's definitely 100% a harem. But I like how it's a harem based on shooting for your goals rather than a harem where it's like the guy's like, would y'all leave me alone? And then all the crazy stuff that happens to him is because of the love polygon. It's not because of what happens with him shooting for his goals. So I like how it's not focused on the harem, but I don't know. I
wish they hadn't gone in that direction.
Well, no, it's one of the things where it's like this is like a certain genre where it's like if this was my first, like if I hadn't seen the other show that I really like and I saw this one first, it would kind of turn me off of this like subgenre because she's such an adorable character. Like whenever she gets like embarrassed or like he says something like super sweet to her and she's like she can't handle it, she's like, why would you say something like that? And I'm like, oh my God, she's so cute. And then she'll turn around and like draw somebody in their underwear. I'm like, okay. So it's one of the things where it's like it pushed me off away from the series more if I would have seen this first instead of seeing a show that didn't push the raunch as much as this show did.
Yeah.
So now that I've kind of been like warmed into it, whenever I see another show like this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold other shows to the standard of this, whereas like the character has to be as cute and they can't push it as far. If they go out of that range, then I'm probably not going to like the show.
Yeah.
So just like how we say the single father and taking care of a little kid, the gold standard is Usagi Drop.
Mm-hmm.
Gold standard for this genre is this one. Your character has to be as cute as this, and you can't push it farther than this show's go, or else you're off the chart. So
yep, I agree. I'm still waiting for another show that comes up to Usagi Drop standard. I really am.
That's all I have for this one. If you're into the edo cute or perfect cute kind of shows like this, or if you like My Sister Can't Be This Cute, this pushes the raunch a little far. This character is cuter. I think you might like it, but if you're not into that genre, just pass on it because it's definitely not for you. The next show I'm going to be talking about is Gene the Guardian, Silver Guardian.
Yes, Silver Guardian. So remember that love-hate relationship thing I was talking about earlier? So yeah. Whereas with Dungeon, like my love-hate relationship, I have like a 80 to 85% love, and then the rest is hate. Yeah, that might be kind of like almost reverse in that role. Is that a thing? I don't know. I feel like a parent. And I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I feel like there could have been so much more involved in this. I think the format that they tried to do this in is what killed them.
Oh, okay.
They this whole, we're gonna give you the bite-sized episodes. Okay, I get that format for like slice of life shows, because it's a situation. You'll have a little situation. You'll do the slice of life. Haha, funny. Something happens. We all can relate to it, and then that's the end of the show, right? This is a full-blown like anime. There's like details in the world. There are things going on, and none of them. I have to like sit here half the time. Like, I have a pretty good recollection of like from episode to episode, even though we're going like week to week, and sometimes I'll even skip a week. I still have a fairly good recollection about what is going on, so that way we can immediately pick back up and be like, okay, yeah, no, absolutely, this is sure, why not? Yeah, absolutely. Half the time I was watching this, I had to go back and be like, wait, where did we go from here to here? How did that happen? And where was the in between? I feel like they literally had full episodes, and somebody just came through with a pair of scissors and was like, nope, cutting this part, cutting this part, cutting that. Yep, split it. Here you go.
You don't need to explain this. They know, please.
You don't need to know where we came from here and why we're doing this. Let's just here.
I'm bored. I'm cutting this out.
That literally feels like what happened, which is why I'm disappointed. I'm like, there are things going on here, and I know it is, because y'all have to have the script, and y'all have to be reading this and kind of have a recollection about what's going on, but I have no idea. Me as the watcher, I'm looking at it going, sure, let's just keep rolling with this. Did I miss a season, an episode? Was there something else going on? Did I fall asleep or something? I don't know, but so at the end of this season, if they even do any more seasons, I still have no idea how and why he was doing the powers that he was doing on the first episode and the explanation for that. I have a small inkling as far as where that pyramid came from and what it's referencing to and whatnot. But as far as anything else involved in that, why there was a horde of monsters coming at him in the very beginning of the first episode, I have no clue. We're done with the season. I have no clue. Where he's going or what he's doing, like the only thing I know for sure, is he is trying to save the girl. That's it. That's all I know. And the fact that at one point there was an arena battle that was inside the game that they were in, and he's just there. I don't know why. I don't know why he was there, because nothing really came of it. Nothing really happened. I mean, he won the battle, but why we had to go do that, I have no idea. Maybe they're like, you know what? We're bored. Let's go do an arena battle. That's all I got. I'm like, I'm having a hard time reconciling this. So it's just, it's not bad. It's just disappointing.
Okay.
It's disappointing and confusing, And like at the very beginning, you saw him working as a badass. Like he was pulling off all these moves. He was cutting through swaths of monsters left and right. And we're now on his episode 12. 12 episodes. So 11 episodes from that point to the end. He still fumbles around. He still has no idea what the hell he's doing. So I'm waiting for the fact of when is it that we're going to even start to be good and be doing the things that we showed in the first episode? I have no clue.
So did they lead on that there's going to be another season, or do you think it's just going to keep going until like a double two course?
I don't know. It might. It might, but I'm not even sure if I want to continue at this point. It was one of those that I kept looking at, going, okay, it's got to get better. You know, that first episode had a lot of like little hints about things going on. I want to know what's going on. I want to know all this and that and the other thing. I have still no clue. 12 episodes in, I'm still clueless. I don't know if I want to continue it anymore. I don't know if I want to see anymore if they do another season, or if it continues into the next season. There are probably way better shows that I can be watching than this.
Wow.
Which is why I'm saying it seemed like, okay, just like with Clockwork, the world around was rich and like absolutely things going on. There are so many behind the scene things. I mean, like what, 2 or 3 episodes into it, her father gets shot and killed in his office. And I'm like, why? What was going on? What's the organization behind this? I have no clue. I have no clue.
So is it a slow burn where they're like slowly just, we're going to get there eventually, just hold on? Or are they like just, how about this? Shoot somebody. How about a pyramid? Like stuff like that.
Yeah, it kind of feels like I was about to say before, like that's probably a very apt description of it. But before you said that, when you said slow burn, I was like, no, it's kind of like they took the heat element on it and they went high, low, high, low, high, low, nearly off, up to high, now back to down low. I mean, it's just
Okay.
Magically the water boils and you have no idea why, because you could only swear it was on for like 10 seconds. That's pretty much where we're at. How did we get to that point? Why was that even a part of that? So, I don't know.
Okay. Has this ruined Emon Entertainment for you? Because I know this is the first show that you're actually watching fully from them. Oh, well, actually, I think you said you're going to wait for Centaur, I think.
Is that the one that they're coming out with next?
I think. I can't remember.
If that one is a full-fledged anime where they do full episodes, I will watch it. And I will make my decision about whether or not I like that studio based upon that. Because right now I'm disappointed, but I feel like I'm disappointed because they weren't full episodes. That there was so much more that they could have put into it had they been given ample amount of time that a full episode would be. Like, we have probably only half an episode on each one, so... Yeah,
so you feel like you'd be twice as far in the story by now, and right now they're just kind of trying your patience, and you're like... I don't necessarily know if I would be further along in the story.
I feel like I would have a better understanding of what's going on. Like, it would the pieces would actually all connect to each other, and I'd be like, this happened because of this was going on because of this, these are his motivations for this, and we're good. At this point, I have no clue.
Okay, so as far as the pace of the story, the pace is fine. They're just not explaining anything.
Basically. But see, that's the thing. Because I feel like there are gaps in between, the pacing seems super quick.
Okay.
But I feel like if the gaps got filled, I think the pacing would be more understandable.
Okay.
So, see, that's kind of a trick question, because it's like, is the pacing quick? Yes, it is like super quick. We jumped from she's doing this to all of a sudden the dad dies, to all of a sudden we're inside of a video game, to all of a sudden we're doing a Coliseum battle. And like there was this huge thing on the freeway that in between all that, and she got kidnapped, and I don't even know where she's at right now. But hey, we're inside a video game for some reason, you know, and it's just like, yeah, and even the way they get inside the video game, I'm not even sure how that happens. I'm not even sure. He literally has a phone. Something like this, basically. Something like that allows him to be inside of a video game.
Okay.
Reason why? How did that happen? I have no clue.
Okay.
You know, maybe there's an explanation for it, but like there's so many, like for every question that gets answered, 20 bazillion more spring up. But we forget about those 20 bazillion more and we follow on one other question. And then that's it. And it's like, wait, how, why, where, what? So, yes, if they're the ones doing Centaur for next season, I will hold my judgment until I've watched at least that one. But if it's another short one...
I think it's regular episodes.
Okay, but if it's another short one, I'm just saying, I'm done with them. Okay. I'm done with them. But if it's a long one, I will. If it's a regular episodes, I will watch it, and then I will make my judgment then about it. Because I feel like they just didn't have enough time. They got gypped on it for some reason or whether, I don't know. They could have done better, but maybe just because of limitations, they didn't get to that. So hopefully something better happens.
Okay. Well, as far as the format, I usually don't mind short shows if they give me enough to where I'm like, oh, it's over? Okay. Let's go on to the next episode. The first show that I watched from them, I can't remember what it's called now, but
You're having my memory loss.
Yeah, the story sounded cool, and the image, the promotional picture was cool. But key visual, there you go. Key visual was cool. But I also had the same issue that you had. Even though it's full episodes, I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Somebody explain something. So I'm very curious to see what this Centaur show is going to be like. Because if they go on in this show and don't explain things, then I know that this studio does not like to explain things. So
I don't know. It seems like okay. Again, if the new one that they're coming out with, Centaur, yes, it has mythical creatures in it, but I think you can get away with not necessarily explaining. Because I mean, you can just kind of have that understanding. Like, okay, monsters exist. Done. If monsters exist in the real world, because you already have a basis for that being like, okay, it's set in the real world. This is our world. It's set in. The only difference is monsters exist. Okay, cool. I can roll with you on that. I can be a part of that. But like for this one, we have a video game world. I have no idea what the rules, regulations, what goes on, why people are doing this. The fact that there's supposedly real money involved and people are like I mean, there is a whole bunch of like stipulations where I'm looking at going, why? What was the point? Why would we do that? Why is this happening? Why did we do that? All right, whatever. So, I don't know. I'm hopeful.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like I was saying for the Centaur one, just like with interviews with Monster Girls, like even though I haven't watched all of that show, I have a really nice bar for this Centaur show to live up to. So I'm like, it's going to be tough for this series
depends upon which direction it goes.
Yeah.
If it goes in a similar direction for interviews, then that'll be what I'll be comparing it to. And that'll be the standard that I hold it up to, because that was an amazing show.
Yeah, so I feel bad for the series because I'm like, you don't explain to me, you don't explain to you, and now it's like you got a bar now.
Yeah, well, and I mean, but see, if they go in the direction of
Monster Musume.
Yeah, if they go in the direction of that was a decent show. Don't get me wrong, but that's a totally different way of going. So I would not hold it to the same standards as Interview with Monster Girls. I would hold it to Monster Musume's standard of like, all right, did you make me laugh? Was it funny? Did we have awkward situations where we're just sitting here doing face palms all the time? Okay, you did a decent job. Cool.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll see.
All right. Next show we're going to be talking about is Natsume Yujincho 6.
Yes. Natsume Yujincho 6. Oh my goodness. And the last episode for the season still has not to come out yet, so I think it's going to come out soon though, because it was one of the ones that started later than the rest of them.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know. Every time Natsume comes up, it's like I feel like I'm sitting here and I'm like I'm a broken record. Once again, nothing overly changes in the series. There are little things, don't get me wrong. In each season, little things happen. Development occurs. But we're not talking about like drastic changes or anything. Development occurs. We continue on. And, it's like meeting an old friend.
Yeah.
We haven't seen each other in a while, but hey, we're still old friends. We catch up with each other, and then we go our separate ways, and we wait until the next time that we meet back up. That's what I feel like with Natsume. his life continues. Obviously, continues right where we left off from before, but his life continues, and we just move along with that until the next season comes, and then we just keep on trailing it along. But I don't get bored with it. I don't feel bad about it. I don't get bored with it. I feel like I'm interested from start to finish, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they are constantly putting forth new monsters in it, new characters that continue. They don't ever feel like they're out of place. They just continue along with what they're doing, and it's great. I will say for those, I mean, you're probably way long way from watching these because you have so many more seasons to catch up on. So I'll say some things that I wouldn't have with Attack on Titan because I know those have been spoilers. But so a little bit of spoilers here because it's discussion. He has never before announced to another human about the fact of the Book of Friends' existence. He's never before. Because, well, one, he doesn't feel like he would trust anyone. And then two, there's not a lot of people who would really understand what it entails. Okay. And it was recently when he was on kind of an expedition with a exorcist friend of his that one of the yokai came up to him and demanded the book from him. And he didn't realize the exorcist was in the same room. Until after the fact. So they got rid of the yokai, but now the secret's out.
Okay.
Something, you know, and it's like, I don't know. It was one of those tense moments where you're looking at it going, is something bad going to happen because of this? Is it going to be something? So, I don't know. I want... Natsume's had such a rough life in his life that he's the type of character you want good things to happen to.
Yeah.
Like when good things happen in his life, you're like, oh, that's great. Yeah, good for you, Betty. Yeah, awesome. And he doesn't have a lot of people in his life that understand. Let's say, let me rephrase that. He doesn't have a lot of humans in his life that he can relate to and understand what he's going through and the situations and can be nice about it. This exorcist was one of the few people, actual people, who have full understanding of what he's going through and are cool with that. But now the fact that this has been brought up, and he explained it to him later exactly what the Book of Friends entails. And at first he was cool with it, but then after Natsume left, he began saying it should just be destroyed. But here's the thing, you cannot destroy that book. If you destroy the names in that book, you destroy the yokai involved with that book. So Natsume will never ever agree to that. But that's something that this exorcist or his friend already has in his mind. That this book's too dangerous and he needs to get rid of it. He needs to just burn it, get rid of it, destroy it. And it's like, no. Because you're like, he's been a great guy with Natsume the entire time. They've helped each other out. Things have gone great. And you kind of almost feel for the guy because the guy, you kind of learn bits and pieces of him too. And you're like, he's kind of had a rough time too. But then this happens. You're like, you almost feel betrayed for Natsume. You're like, no.
Yeah.
Good. You got to understand these things. Yeah. No. Stop it. So now I'm going to be curious if the book ever goes missing, if he's the one who's got it.
Yeah.
And not because he wants to use the book for nefarious reasons, which is what Natsume has always been worried about, but because he just wants to destroy it, which kind of is a nefarious reason on its own.
Yeah.
So,
do they ever explain the quantity of names that are in that book, or is it just a book of names?
It's just a book of names. They never really explain exactly how many are in there. But he's constantly giving yokai back their names.
Yeah.
But there's still quite a few names left in that book.
Yeah. So
until he actually comes face to face with each of those yokai and is capable of returning their names, there's no way he can do it. He can't just try to return the names without having the yokai here in front of him.
Yeah.
Because he has to have a full picture in his mind before he's able to return their names to them.
Yeah, I love how they don't quantify it, because then you're like, it could be 20 or it could be 2,000 names. It's there's no
you know, and you feel for him. You feel for Natsume because it almost feels like a betrayal, but at the same time you're like, he's been dreading this moment for a long time, because he's like, he's a friend of his, yes. Do they kind of trust each other? Sure. But he knows that this guy's an exorcist, and that this book could potentially pose a threat to their friendship. And here we go. Now that it's been revealed, at first he seems like he's okay, but I don't know. But then, like, Neko Sensei, I don't think Neko Sensei entirely trusts him, so that might be something he'll look out for. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because when he was explaining it to him, the Neko Sensei was sitting there in the grass in his cat form, kind of keep giving him like a sideways glance, and I think he was trying to gauge upon his reaction what was going to happen. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay. It's sad that I have I have more trust in the series with the yokai than I do with humans, which I think is their what they've been intending to do, because they always paint humans, with the exception of a few. He has maybe 2 or 3 friends in his life that he's actually open with for the most part, and you can trust them. But everyone else, nope. Which, I mean, this was a huge violation of trust, and he hasn't even told his foster parents about any of this either. Yeah. And now that this has happened, now I'm like, oh God, in the next season, are they going to throw that in there? And what's going to happen there? This already went in a bad situation. So what are they going to say? I mean, they're probably going to be worried. Don't get me wrong, they'll probably be the parental type, and they'll be worried for his life. So they'll be like, well, this is really dangerous because there could be yokai that, there have always been yokai that try to get the book from him. And then it's like, then there's always some of the yokai that he's given names back to are kind of dangerous on their own too. So, they might be like, well, no, it's too dangerous and get rid of it and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, he can't get rid of it. He's literally the only person who can return their names, period. Yeah. Nobody else in the family has the ability, so far as we know, to see yokai like him and his grandmother did. So none of the other ones can see them to be able to return their names to them.
So I guess it's a 2-part question. I'm curious, so you mentioned alchemist. So one, I wanted to know, did the whole alchemist thing, did he join and all that kind of stuff? And then also, can the alchemist see the yokai?
Yeah, you mean the exorcist?
Yeah. Yes, the exorcist.
Are we doing Full Metal Alchemy? I didn't know that. Yes. Yes, the exorcists can see the yokai. Okay. Because that's how kind of their job. That's their profession. They're exorcists. They actually see all the yokai. And usually, and they've it's kind of interesting. They've kind of described that a little bit more in the last 2, and this season more than anything else, is that there's been 2 exorcists that we've seen that one of them during the course of his life lost his powers to be able to see. And once he stopped being able to see, he no longer, he had 3 familiars, I want to say. 3 yokai that were tied to him. But because he lost his powers to see them, they went rampant. Because they're tied to him, but he's no longer an exorcist because he can't see them and he can't control them anymore. But he can't dissolve the bond because he can't see them. So it's like, well, that's kind of sucks. And then there was another instance, exorcist died, but because he died, his yokai that had been his basically familiars, they were still loyal to him. It was just the fact that he was just no longer was there. So it's kind of an interesting situation. And I'm not even 100% sure that holds true in all situations in this world that they live in now. But, it might be a fact that maybe it's just because the one who, it was the type of yokai he had, or I don't know what, but it's still very interesting and very cool because the exorcist that died, his 2 familiars were actually 2 twin dragons. They're they were small versions of traditional Chinese dragons. Okay. And that was just cool as all heck to see and whatnot. Because they ended up bumping into him because they were looking for the old exorcist's study to find his notes. And on one of the doors, there were 2 different doors into the study, and they were actually in 2 different parts of the house that he lived in. They were connected through magic. Was one of the dragons, and they found the door, and you just see the dragon and the wood relief. And then when they tried to open it, he came partly out of the wood relief, and you're like, that's kind of cool. to him and stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like that. So I mean, this series always has little things to it, and every little thing to it just adds to it that much more. You feel the characters are so well developed. You feel a connection with them. You know, like I was saying before, his victories are your victories, and you want good things to happen, and you feel the betrayal even when he doesn't or hasn't yet, because you know certain things maybe that he doesn't. And, so characters are well developed. Storyline's great. It's always something new and interesting to see. There's always a yokai that's, some off the wall thing. I mean, from like mermaids to there was this giant like furry creature of some sort that was not the brightest one in the world, but like he had a tadpole for a friend. That was a really big tadpole, but he had a tadpole for a friend, and they had like this really funny relationship between them. But it's like these things that you see, and it's always, he learns more about his grandmother and how her past was like pretty bad too, because of her ability to see yokai. And yeah, I probably sound like a broken record. I'm saying things I've probably said I don't know how many times before, but each time it's fun, it's exciting, and you just want to see and you want to know more. So
okay. Yeah, I've only watched one episode of this show out of 6 seasons, and like you're explaining like key points, and I'm like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And I haven't even watched it. So like this show is amazing. Like one day, like I always say,
people out there ever doing a slice of life story for any reason, I mean, look this one up, watch it. If you enjoy slice of life, if you're trying to do something similar to a slice of life story, this to me is the bar. As we've said before and many other things about there being a bar standard for certain genres and certain stories and whatnot, this to me is the bar for slice of life. If a slice of life story can't meet this, I'm not interested in it.
Okay.
So
cool. The next show I'm going to be talking about is another one I actually watched. Recreators.
Oh, this was such an interesting one.
Woo, man, I love this, and I am glad that it's continuing through next season.
Yep.
And
as I've told Big D before, and if you guys have watched anything we've ever said before, I typically hate openings.
Yes.
I hate openings. Okay, I hate them for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not a huge fan of Japanese music, but I do kind of like some of it. So I kind of skip over that. But the other thing is that typically speaking, the openings to me are like spoilers for the rest of the series. And I'm like, I don't want to watch that. Why are you just, no, I don't want to, I'm not interested in that. I'd rather come to these conclusions on my own and not have you go, oh, here's a character you haven't been introduced yet. He's an integral part. Like, no. Yeah. Come to these conclusions on my own. The opening for this, I love it. I love the music. I love the fact that, yes, they're introducing characters, and I'm probably glad I didn't watch the opening until the first 3 episodes, 3 or 4 episodes or whatever, because that way I saw all the characters. I've already seen all the characters that they were going to introduce, and I'm like, oh, hey, I love that person. Oh, hey. But see, they're not doing anything necessarily involved with the story.
It's not a clip out of the show.
No. You're literally just seeing they're doing you see them in the pose, you see them doing a fighting move or something. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Hey, whatever. Sure, why not? People out there, you gotta do an opening for an anime. That's how you do it. Do not spoil anything. Do not make it like something integral to the actual show itself. No, just have some sort of fun little thing to do and go from there, And that's kind of like why I think one of the other ones with Bleach was another one that I watched the openings for before. It's like, yeah, you see the characters, but they're doing random things and they're just, walking around, or maybe they're fighting, but you don't see always who they're fighting. You're just like, oh, someone's swinging their sword, doing a power. Hey, that's cool, whatever.
Yeah, and rare intros to Naruto, they won't be doing story stuff. They'll just be like, it's a big dance party. Ah!
See, and I'm like, hey, if you want to do something like that, awesome, sure, why not? But that's the reason why I hate openings. So this one, awesome opening. I love the music. I love how they like, and that's another thing too. Make your music match what you're doing here. This was like nice, high impact, going intense, moving, kind of like when I'm listening to it, I'm like sitting here going, yeah, hell yeah, this is awesome, you know. So, but then that kind of goes along with the anime because there's a lot of like action sequences going on. It's like high action, but it's so much fun. So I'll let you say first on this one. So I just wanted to throw that in there for the opening.
All right. Where do I even begin? So basically, the overarching story is that in this world, this world is basically just like our world. It's based in the Japanese manga and anime kind of community where there are popular artists and not so popular artists. The most popular characters from certain series have somehow been pulled out of their stories and they've become real and they're in our world.
And see, it's not even just that. It's like from all over, like manga, short story, anime, even video game.
Yeah, even like anime music videos. Because I think the villain actually came from one of those, and she is basically once they come into the world, she's trying to get to them first, so she can pull them on her side, so she can invoke her plan to
destroy the world.
Yeah. So it's a really, really cool concept because a lot of the characters, it's one of the things where they're like reflect on themselves. They're like, you created me. I am all powerful. You're not. There was one character who was fighting and she saw blood for the first time and she's like, wait, this is not supposed to be happening. And she like questions like her motivations on what she's doing. And it's a really, really, really cool anime. It's another one of the things where there's always this one little thing that I love in anime where they put like social media and like current technology into the show, whereas like a Twitter post can actually like affect the story, and it's really, really cool. This show is amazing. This is my number one of the season. Like I am absolutely loving it, and I'm definitely going to continue to the next season.
I will say like this would probably be like, as far as new series goes, this would be my number one of the season. If it was like continue, like I'm kind of torn between Natsume and this one. So I mean, it's like I'm a little like, as far as number one for this season, they're both vying. But if it was just straight for like a new series, this would definitely be my number one as well. So so good. Just the like
characters are amazing. They're well fleshed out. Like,
well, see, here's the thing. This was the genius of what they did with this. Okay, they took characters that we essentially already know. For those of us who have watched animes, read novels or short stories, played video games, each of these characters is relatable. We've seen these characters. Hell, the one that had the mech, that's pretty much Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's pretty much Shinji. They made it female, and they made,
that's actually a guy.
It is?
Yeah, he has a girlish voice, but I was like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, he's very androgynous. I'm like, I say girl. And then the very first line, he's like, oh yeah, this guy, he in the mech. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, I must have missed that. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, but basically that's Shinji. And then like there are so many other, like the hero, the knight. I mean, I'm sure there's characters we can all probably relate to with that.
Magical girls.
Magical girl, absolutely. How many different magical girls have we not seen already? I mean, so that's the genius of this. They don't necessarily need to do a lot of character development because they just roll with what you already know. Which is great. I mean, that's part of like any good story. Like you try to take parts of realism that the people that are going to be watching reading or whatever it is that you're doing. So that way there's something that ties them into it.
Yeah.
So because they've already got that, they don't need to worry about that. So they can focus on other things and make it just that much more, which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I love, and you know me, I love the action scenes in that. Oh, so damn much. That fights that they had at the rooftop parking lot. It was a whole bunch of people fighting, whole bunch of people. But it had that one dude who's like the one who has or had the samurai woman.
Yeah.
And then
that was on top of a building?
Yeah, that was on top of a building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just some parking lot or something.
No, it was on top of it was one of those multi-story parking lot things.
Okay.
It's on the rooftop of it. That's why you saw the parking lot itself, but it was a rooftop parking lot. Okay. But anyways, like that whole fight that was up there, I just freaking loved it. And okay, there are characters, and I've said this before, like, even when you were saying before with Eromanga Sensei, like I said, I hate the neighbor girl. Just annoyed the hell out of me. Okay, I've had characters where I'm like, I hate that character. And it turns me off from it. Yeah. That one girl that he was fighting.
Which, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I hate her. But it's one of those, like, that's good. You want to hate. You need that. That is her character. I'm like, you played that really well because I hate your character. Yes. You're kind of funny, but at the same time, hate your character. Yeah. So that's the exact same reaction I had to video game I played, Borderlands. Borderlands 2. They have a character called Jack in there. And his character, like, by the time the end of the game, you have the option of killing him or letting someone else kill him. I didn't even wait for them to finish. I just shot him right then and there. I'm like, shoot him. Who's that guy? Like, so you can either, and I'm like, wait, you were gonna say something? I'm sorry.
Was that more than that? Am I okay? Like, were you gonna say not do it?
Don't worry, I handled it. It's all good. See, that's the same thing. Like with that character, that girl, like I probably wouldn't shoot her, but at the same time, you're like, oh, I hope he wins. I hope he kicks her ass about that. And then he doesn't, and I'm like, damn it. I wanted you to kick her ass. I was so hopeful.
I would say the last villain that I know for sure you got like super mad about was Beetlejuice from ReZero. Where it's like, oh, kill him. Just kill him.
Yeah. Oh, God. Now you made me remember that. Damn you. You made me remember him. I was good not remembering him.
Yeah, so I want to do something like a little different. Like, because this show is so good, I kind of want to like go through like some of the characters and say like one good thing and one bad thing about it, because I want to do like a somewhat in-depth thing. So like I'm gonna just go ahead. Like, so the main character, he's kind of just the average person that you kind of like project yourself onto, and then, he held back a secret that like was very important to the story, and like for 2.5 episodes, I was like, say something, come on, and like horrible things happen because of it. So like I like that is a good character where I'm like I'm yelling at him to do something and like things go wrong. And I'm just like, I don't hate you because I kind of nobody's explained what exactly happened, but I know it's somewhat your fault. And I'm angry about you for that. And then
have you not watched the last part of that?
No, I've seen it. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait.
Yeah.
We explained that. That was explained.
Yeah. So like when you finally explain it, I'm like, okay, I get why you didn't say anything, but you should have still said something.
I don't know. I might disagree with you on that one for that one. Okay. I feel, yes, his character is very average. And yes, that is intentional because you are meant to be able to project onto that character. You're meant to feel for that character and become a part of that character. Now, I don't know. Like, I knew he had something big, and I knew it was troubling him. I knew it was bothering him. When it finally came out, I kind of feel the same way that the other artist that was there talked with him about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to feel sorry for you in that regards. But at the same time, I know because the guilt that you're feeling, I can't say that you're I can't absolve you of that, but it's not necessarily, it's indirectly your fault, and that's not something you should be holding on to in that regards. Feel guilt for that, sure, but like it's a very I like how they set that up, because that is a very hard thing to, like, your emotions will cover you more than your actual mind. So his reaction and how he did that, like, there have been times, don't get me wrong, like with Shinji and Neon Genesis Evangelion, I'm like, oh my god, I want to kill you because you're just freaking idiot. You're not thinking, and this is not, what is it? No, stop it. Stop it. I wasn't doing that with him. So, like, with your reaction to that, I totally understand that. But I wasn't doing that with him because they set that up in such a way that it made you, like, to me, I felt for that. And I'm like, okay, I can see why that would be a hard thing for you to be like, I want to. And you could tell when he tried to talk with, what's her face, the librarian, that he wanted to. He wanted to. And that's good. That's a good character development. That's a good characterization.
And I think
go ahead.
Or like Mithiana, she knew he wanted to say something too.
Yeah. So like that's good characterization, and being able to, like, without him having to even think it, monologue it to himself or say it, he wants to say something. He just can't. He can't bring himself to. Yeah. And that is great. I like that.
Yeah. So I guess next character I'll talk about is the redhead fire girl.
Oh yeah.
So she impressed me a lot when I saw her, like when she first appeared in the series, because she's like really powerful, she's really smart, and then she kind of just takes into where she's like, you know what? I understand how all this is working, so like I'll just make the best out of it. And once they found out like how, like what is actually happening, she'll like, okay, I'm gonna do my part. And there's nothing like I didn't like about her character. It's like I was totally on board with everything that she did. So she was kind of like, she was a good character, but she was kind of like fell back as far as like me being passionate about her character. Like
I was gonna say, like, I think she was very mid-range character. There was nothing overly bad about her. She fell right into it, and it was such a smooth transition into it. That to me, I was just like, all right, it didn't feel like you had to like get involved with her for her to get involved. Yeah. Sometimes you involve yourself with a character to feel, and they get involved, and that's when you really start to connect. Yeah. I really didn't feel like there was necessarily a connection, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just because she had no outstanding like issues, problems, or concerns or anything. It was just she was very mid-range character. Yeah, it's the best way I can really say it, I think. So
let's see. I think another like mid-range character was like the mech guy, the Shinji guy.
Yep. But like, okay, so to me, he was kind of a mid-range character, but there was that one instance where he took the main dude out on his mech.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay, so like I really didn't have instances with the flame-haired girl with that. Like she was only ever like there for like mostly the fights kind of thing. She kind of like helped things, did things. That's pretty much what it almost feels like. She's the warrior. That's what she does. She goes out there, and that should be kind of the same way with all of them. But with him, for the mech, when he took him out and they had their conversation, that's character development. That gives you a little more insight to him and allows you to feel more towards him. That's more, don't get me wrong. Like I said, they all have a connection because they all are pre-existing kind of characters. But I felt more of a connection with him then because you actually could see, you get more of what he goes through, Yeah. He understands his character and he's trying to help others and he understands his flaws and there's more to that, but I think that was really cool in that regards for that to happen. And I also kind of feel like he's kind of one of those fun characters. Yeah. Because he's one of those fun characters because everyone's like, he has a freaking giant mech. Yeah. And they're like, we don't want to have him there because he has a giant mech. Let's try not to use him unless we absolutely have to.
They're like, it's so hard to try to cover up this stuff. They're like, we are trying our best. It's like, he was like, the news reporter, he's like, we're trying to disable a bomb. Boom. And then, like, everything's fine. Boom. Don't worry. We have it under control. And they're like, please, just keep the mech in the sky. Like we can't explain that. So I love that. Like, even the creator, like when he called one of the other creators, and he's like, hey dude, I got a situation. He's like, oh yeah, your character showed up in the real life? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, I got the one dude here, and like I hit the mech like over in a football field because that's the only thing. That's the only thing bigger than it. So, I loved the comedy of the show. I'd say, what did you think about the sword guy? I loved how he was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and you help me out, and I'll help you back. And then, like with a lot of the other characters, the witch got under his skin and he got like hurt. So
yeah, I like him. Mm-hmm. Like he is very stereotypical in his attitude and how he perceives himself. Like I already, even from looking at him, I'm like, okay, I know exactly how you had this character. Yeah, right off the bat. And usually those type of characters annoy me because they're just like oh, I do what I want, and I'm like, dude, come on now. You got to understand, yes, you want to do what you want, but if you don't help with this, everyone's going to die. So let's get with it. Let's understand this here. But see, to me, he did have that attitude, but he's more understandable. He doesn't like, oh, I do what I want. You can't tell me what to do. He's like, I do what I want, but yeah, you're probably right. We should probably take care of that. Otherwise, all of creation dies and ends. So let's probably try to avoid that. Yeah, all right. No, I'll help you out, but don't give me orders. I'm just going to go in there and take care of whatever it is I'm going to do. So like, I get his character. He's got that bad boy persona to him, but he's still, at least, he's a decent character.
I like how he started being all buddy with the other dude. Was it? I can't remember if it was like over food or something like that, where like they both mentioned something that they like have a commonality with, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, high five!" And it was just like kind of out of his character, but
yeah, I do. Cool. I will say I like the rivalry he has with the old dude on the other side.
Yeah, now
he's got a rivalry between them.
Yeah, like they haven't explained a lot with him, and I hope they get more into his character in the second series since there's less people on that side. Well, there were less in that. Like, crazy stuff is happening. But with him, I don't know. He's kind of like the dad. He's like, y'all kids.
He is. But at the same time, there's definitely like a big rivalry between the two of them because they'll go out of each other's way when they see each other. Yeah. And go after each other. Yeah. So I like that.
I'd say another character that surprisingly is underdeveloped is the villain. Like,
I get that though. They're not wanting to give you a lot of information because you're mainly like you are going back and forth between two sides. Yeah. But you are mainly following the good guys, and their whole role for this first part of the season was trying to figure out who she was, what her motivation is, and how they can stop her. They just now recently got to that point. It took long. So now you're actually learning more about her through that. Yeah. So I get that. They didn't want to share all that information right from the get-go. They wanted her to remain mysterious and unknown. That's why, like, during that battle, you saw her do some crazy stuff, and it was one of those surprises even to you. You're like, holy crap, she can do that? Yeah. Later on, you get explained, which is great, but it's still one of those things that they didn't want to give that away right from the get-go.
Yeah. With them explaining her powers, I kind of feel like they made her a little bit overpowered, but then they kind of, like, they're using the reason why she's overpowered to kind of, like, combat against her. Yeah. And I I kind of like with the pace, like how they're setting up the second season, I'm kind of thinking about the first season, and I'm trying to think like how much destruction are they doing and how often are they doing that? I'm pretty sure it's not every night they're like just destroying buildings and stuff like that.
No. Because I think it's in the course of probably a couple of months that they've been going at it so far.
Yeah, and like, for me, I kind of wish I had a little bit more of like the
timeline.
Yeah, the timeline, because when they're like, okay, we're going to do this one thing, and it's probably going to take like 3 to 6 months. And I'm like, what's going to happen to the city? I'm like, 3 to 6 months is like a long time. So that kind of threw me off. But
I think because of the situation at the end where what happened, they realize there's a breathing room that they have to be able to prepare and combat for the final get-go. So I think more than likely what's going to end up happening is when the next part of this, basically kind of season 2 kind of kicks off, I think there's going to be a time lapse.
Yeah.
And the next episode that we have, since they've now agreed upon the plan and how they're going to do that, we're probably going to pick it back up maybe like a couple weeks before the final due date.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
which I'm totally cool with. I'm totally.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I'm like, what could they actually show that would be like as compelling as what they've been showing as far as that? So like it'd go into like a slice of life kind of thing.
There might be like one episode that is kind of like the overcapping of what happens in the in between, and then they'll just follow right along with, okay, here we go. Now this is what's happening. Kind of thing. So you might get one of those slice of life episodes in the in between kind of thing, but I think it'll only be like one episode where they're like, okay, this is what's happening, this is what everyone's doing, yay, okay, now we go back to the important stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll still be important, but it won't be necessarily like groundbreaking kind of thing. So
okay,
that's my feeling about it.
Cool. As far as like, they introduced like one more character right at the end. So I think that as far as like them introducing more characters, I feel like the pace that they're doing it is good. Like you're not like, oh, okay, they haven't introduced anybody in a while. It's like, it's one of the things where it's like, you get the new characters, you get to know them, you get engrossed, and then you see them a few times. Yeah, and then somebody else shows up and you're like, oh, awesome, what do you do? Let's get to know you. So they introduce characters.
I will say, as a final thought for characters, what do you think about the Night Lady?
Yeah, there's 2 more characters I wanted to get to.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to get to the villain, like, overall. Now I want to go back to the last 2 characters, the Magic Girl and the Knight. So the Knight, speaking of knights, I want to go on a tangent, non-anime related. Transformers: The Last Knight. I relate this to the show is because I hated that movie. Like, I was very disappointed by it. And my reasons are, I don't care about those movies unless they have to be fun and pretty. If they're pretty, fine. If they're not fun, then I won't like it. This last movie to me was not fun. I don't know if it's a maturity thing. Like, I'm starting to like better stories and like this, like before, like even with our show, I go for the visuals. We watch all the trailers and I'm like, oh, this is pretty, this looks good. And then as far as story, you pick your shows by that. So for me, for Transformers to be pretty and not interesting, that shows an evolution that I've noticed in myself. So one thing that reminded me about Recreators was there's this one character who was just bullheaded, and he was like, we got to do this, blah, 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 blah. And he's like adamant about it. And then something happens and he fails and he's like devastated. And I'm like, I don't know what to feel because I don't know why you were as adamant as doing your one thing. So that, like, Transformers the movie reminded me of the Knight, where it's like, she's kind of bullheaded and she's like, we have to do this. It's like, I don't completely understand this world, but as a knight, my honor, I want to do this. You're against this. I have to fight you because I'm a knight. And she's slowly starting to break that character down. So
I think in the get-go, I actually kind of understand her. I do. And I kind of feel sorry for her because I understand that in the beginning, she was manipulated.
Yeah.
She was manipulated. And she's now understanding that too.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, she was manipulated. And I get it because, I mean, it's a foreign. They got dragged in from their world. And so for some of them, the world that they were in is pretty similar to our world. There's some key differences and whatnot, but it's pretty similar. Her world is like completely different. Like not like, I mean, there's dragons, there's like intense like night battle wars, we're doing hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that, and then she comes to our world and it's like a culture shock.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a culture shock, and she's alone, knows nobody, and is confused, and she's very earnest, and she's very honest and very naive in that regards.
Yeah.
So she took for the villain as more of an authoritative figure, and I think when she stepped in was when the magical girl and the one sword dude was fighting, and that looked bad in that regards. And if you had the sword dude and the magical girl fighting against each other, who would you like? If you knew nothing about what was going on and you just saw the two of them fighting, who would you think was the good guy? Who would you think was the bad guy?
The knight, because knights are good.
Well, no. As far as like the sword dude and the magical girl, because the knight on them fighting.
Oh, okay, yeah. You would pick the magical girl because she's a little girl.
You pick the magical girl because she's a little girl. She looks innocent. Yeah. And the thing is she was also misled, manipulated by the villain. So I completely understand. And so when she was having her like laser focus on I got to do this, that was simply because she was getting fed misinformation from the villain. That was it. So she believed, only because this is what she got told, that you're here because of this, and you need to find your creator, and you need to have him change your story, so that way your world is a better world. And that was all she wanted. She didn't want to hurt anybody. She didn't want to kill anyone else. She only wanted her creator to change her story, so that way her world would be a better place. That's all. Yeah. So I get that. And even further saying the fact that, she has, she has obviously very bad methods, as we've seen in her way of doing things. But again, that's from where she's from, and that's what she understands. So that's just her way of doing things. Is it a little bit rough? Yeah. Could she have done things a little bit better? Sure. But that's not something she really knows.
Yeah. And especially when there's certain parts where characters are trying to explain something, she would just shut them up because, like, the foundation of her personality doesn't deal with that kind of stuff. So I love that she was like, I know now that what I'm doing may be wrong, but I don't know how to deal with this. So I'm going to just keep going with it.
Now she's actually trying to fix it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's one of the things where she got some time to just sit and think, because in the heat of battle, she's like, no, I can't deal with this right now. So I like that. So far, I'd say, I want to say the knight is probably my favorite character because of like how she's changing. Like so far, I think that she has like the most change.
Most character development in it.
Yeah. And then my second favorite is like the magical girl, because she was super powerful, and she was one of the first people to like start making waves on that side. And she was naive, just like the knight said to her a few times. And like after seeing blood and everything, she realized how powerful she was. And she kept saying, like, people would say like, use your ultimate attack, and she's like, I can't do that. And like it's really cool. Like, I don't know, like
I think for her, like, seeing her development was probably the most exciting thing with her. She had so much development, like you were saying, from the blood thing to understanding her naivety and understanding she was wrong and then trying to fix it. Like, out of all the characters, I think so far, she has had the most development, which kind of sad when everything's said and done. But that's besides the point.
And I would chuck that to her naivety, because it's like, you can't do that if you don't.
She had the most willing to learn, and she she herself evolved from where she once was.
Yeah, because she even like went and talked to the enemy. She's like, I am understanding this, and I was told this. What is your opinion? And like, I love like if the
see how many are willing to do that exactly? You know, even if not even in this story, just in general, if you know somebody think of them as the enemy, how many of you do you think will actually go out and actually try to have a conversation with them? That takes a lot from a personal perspective to be able to accomplish something like that. So hats off, bravo.
Yeah, and then for her to be kind of weary and not to just jump sides. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna try to do something about it. Like, like if the night didn't like get me with her like unwillingness to change at the moment. She's like, everything has to calm down and I have to think. Like that hit me a little bit more than the magical girl, but the magical girl did some really, really cool stuff that I've never seen like a character do. So
no, I completely agree.
Yeah. So yeah, this show is amazing. Number 1 of the season for me, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the story is going to unravel.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm probably going to just put it off until the end of this next season, so I can just watch it all the way through. Because
I allow myself a few episodes, but I don't. I know if I try to do that, I'll end up getting behind and then trying to rush through it. And I'm like, no, I'll keep up with it, keep up with it. So
yeah,
I'll skip a week or two and then come back to it.
Yeah, that was appreciated. And the last show we're going to be talking about is a very long Japanese name, but Akashic Records of Bastard Magical Instructor.
Yes. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this one.
I didn't like it at first. I thought from the trailer, I thought it was going to be dumb, and then I started watching it, and I'm like, "Oh man!"
It's not. It's not. I don't know. I think to me, the only reason I have mixed feelings on it is because of the ending. That was the only reason I have mixed feelings on it. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of like everything else, it had its own pace. Like it had a really good pace, really good rhythm. We were moving along here. We got to like the last 2 episodes, and all of a sudden it was just like. Phew, and I'm like, what just happened? Why? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You know? So that's probably, other than that, no, this is a solid show.
Towards the end, I kind of felt like the villains were predictable. Like I didn't know, I felt like I could have predicted what would happen for the last villain if I knew more information about their history. Yeah. But for the second to last villain, it was like they're in this museum, they're talking about all this forbidden arts and everything, and there's one person who knows so much information about it, and I'm like, why do you know so much? Like you just kind of
honestly, it wasn't. I don't know. I think that you might have been suspicious of it, but for me, when I first started watching for that particular one, I was like, the way they presented it to me, at least. I didn't have that suspicion of him only because I didn't know. They've done a lot in the series to introduce magic and what it does and what it's used for and this, that, and the other thing. So this field trip that they were on, I didn't know if this was specifically dealing with magic as far as that goes. Or if there was actually going to be a conflict with the villains that we keep coming across, you know? So I didn't have my mindset of being suspicious of anyone. I was just like, oh, okay, is this just like a field trip or something going to happen? What are we doing here? And it wasn't until bad things started occurring and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Issues are happening, okay. But even then, I think they have so much, and this is kind of what I've said before as far as a lot of it, like the worlds themselves, they have to have a lot of lore. And this world obviously has a lot of lore. Yeah. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that even the characters themselves don't know. Yeah. Or at least they're not even, coming out with saying. So it's always interesting to me to see what's going to happen. What's the big deal? Like I said, for me, the only thing that was a problem was the ending. It seemed like the last 2 episodes, they just bulldozed their way through. and went even faster than their previous ones as far as like how the pacing was going. So I was like, okay, come on, are we just wrapping this up? Are you like, oh my god, we need to get this done, and we have so much left. Let's just throw it all in there and go.
Yeah. I felt like they needed to find a bookmark, and they kind of just. They're like, okay, this would be a good start, like ending point for the first core. So let's like just take this, and that. We won't explain a lot. We'll give you just enough information so you can know who these people are. But if this was like in the middle of the series, then you would have had a flashback and you would have known like who these people are or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Other than that, no, I love everything about it. I mean, magic in it is freaking awesome. And I like the fact that was one of the things I've always heard about people with dealing with magic, like even as far back as like Harry Potter and all their other stuff. They're like, oh, if they didn't have their wands and they can't perform magic, then they're useless. They can't do anything. And here you have a teacher instructor who is like, screw the magic. You don't need the magic. I'll just beat the ever living crap out of them. I'll make it so they can't use their magic. I'm like, yeah, that's my guy right there. You're like, yeah, I could do that with magic, but you know what? I'm just gonna punch you in the face. Yeah. So I mean, it's well thought out. The characters are they're not the greatest in the world, but they're still pretty good. I enjoy the characters. Obviously, there in certain instances, I think there needs to be a little bit more development, and they're not like, you know. So like overall, I would give like the show itself like 90. I would give it a grade of like a 90. Like the character development was probably the one thing that brought it down. The overall lore and story of the world they live in is amazing. That gets top marks for me. And like the conflicts and the people that are involved, I think are great. Like I'm always interested to see, oh, what new development we're coming up with here. Oh, what's going to happen here? Oh, what, you know, so it's like, and other than the last part, I think the pacing did great.
Yeah.
So that's it for me on that one. So.
Okay. There are a few characters that I kind of wish I knew more about already because they were really cool, and I don't know. I know nothing about them. There was also something that they kept alluding to, and I don't know the connection for that. Like the basically the red versions and blue versions of a certain character. And then like the I guess the mentor of the guy, like that girl, that blonde girl was I wish I knew.
You really do want to know more about her. I would agree with that.
Yeah, especially because like she was there every now and then, and like in certain situations she couldn't do anything, which kind of feel like they wasted her power because they like showed how strong she was earlier in the series. Yeah. So I kind of like felt disappointed as how they used her in the show. And then at the end of the series, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere else." And I'm like, "No, are we gonna go with you? Because I want to know more about you." Like,
yeah, I want to know more about what you're doing.
Yeah, so
they might. I mean, they might split the if they do another season of this, which I kind of hope they do. They might split the attention between the two. Mm-hmm. As long as what she is doing is related in some regards to the other characters.
Yeah. And then, I guess, yeah. And then, like me, always, I said Islands in the Sky. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to watch it. So there's like this floating island that they keep showing. And they're like, oh, yeah, the island up there. And that's it. I'm like,
and nobody's ever gone to or done it.
Oh, my, somebody.
And I'm looking at it going, okay, you guys have magic. How is it nobody has investigated those ruins? Yeah. How is it that no one can think of a way to get up there to investigate those ruins, or why those ruins are up there in the first place? Yeah, surely somebody has records about what happened to cause that particular landmass to be able to rise up into the air and float there the entire time.
Yeah, come on. All you have to do is like say there's some kind of super complicated barrier and nobody's figured it out. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Instead of being like, yeah, instead of being like, oh yeah.
Instead of everyone just keeps looking at it going, yeah, it's there. And you have like the cat girl going, I really want to get up there and investigate it. And then all of us are sitting here going, why don't you? What's stopping you? Your friends, your living roommates with the princess ask the mother for some funds to be able to make it up there for some reason, somehow. Promise her something for it, and have yourself a merry freaking day. Do something.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There are a few continuity little things that involve with that. And yes, the characters do need to be further developed than what they have them already. I do like how they did. I will say the development for the guy is great.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that needs to be carried out through the rest of it. And once they do, this would be a stellar show.
Yeah.
So.
I'd say one little small thing about like him disappearing. Like there was a whole situation where he left like the royal guard, and then he just disappeared. Like nobody knew where he was, and then. Toward the last episode, like he just disappeared and then like came back a couple days later to like show up at the perfect time. It may be one of the things that like overlooked because of the rush at the end of the series, but I do feel like for him to like every now like he'll either figure it out as he's right there and do something amazing, or he'll like try to find a way to regroup, but we're still kind of with him. He hasn't ever like disappeared and then come back and save the day. That part seemed kind of like not. Yeah,
it did seem a little weird.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I mean when he walked away after getting the pummeling he was supposed to, and then was supposed to come back, and they said, oh, he never showed back up. I'm like, that seems odd. He's the type of person who would regroup. He had the entire evening and night, and then into the next morning to figure out what it was he was going to do to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And then he still couldn't do it, and he was still back at his place, just sitting there going, "How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this?" It's like, come on now.
Yeah, and even Rumiak had this like showed up and was like, he's still trying to marry her, right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there." I'm like,
I'll figure that.
What were you doing this whole time? I'm like,
yeah. I'll figure that out. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about blank. Let me worry about blank.
Yeah. So. That was one thing about the guy's character that kind of didn't jive with me. I'm like, he's disappeared before.
But again, that's a small thing, like you said. And it kind of seems kind of related to what I had the issue with as far as like the last couple episodes just seemed like they rushed through it without having a whole lot of forethought. So
yeah,
that's potentially what might have happened. They're like, oh, we got to throw this all together last second. Well, he's supposed to be able to come and save the day. I don't know. Have him leave and just never come back, and then all of a sudden show up at the last second because he's the hero, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
But
either way.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what I kind of want to predict like season 2. Like, they haven't explained the Akashic records. A bunch of people keep saying it. Did they explain like exactly what it is? Like book like.
No.
Yeah. So.
They never did.
A bunch of people know about that, and they haven't explained that, so I'm curious about that.
But the way they keep referencing it, I'm thinking something bad, regardless.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. And then, like, that girl, that evil girl, that, like, she put the poison necklace around the princess. Like,
yeah.
She is a cool villain. If Recreators wasn't in this series, in this season, she would be the best villain I've seen this series.
Yeah. But the witch beats her out hands down.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. None whatsoever.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's one of like because somebody's in like in charge above her, and she didn't like attack really. She kind of like set up stuff and then like snuck away.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see her attack. Like maybe she's not strong enough to attack, and that's why she uses the sneaky stuff. Like I
don't know. She had that battle with that one dude though. You didn't really see much of it though, because they kept cutting him back to. You just realized he was being delayed by her to be able to get back to. That's what ended up happening with that. So, still, I think the back and forth, like that dynamic that they had with that one dude and her when they were going back and forth near the beach in the forest or whatever. I liked that. Like, that was a cool little dynamic that they were having, because they were all being like nonchalant, a little bit casual about it, but you knew they were about to like do battle with one another kind of thing. And oh yeah, I like that. Like, those situations always, like when they go like that kind of funny little twist on that, I always enjoy that for some reason.
Okay.
So.
One thing that I like about her is like her exit. It's kind of like a ninja where they throw the smoke bomb. So she was like, she just threw an explosion. It was like, boom. And she like slowly like leaves.
Yeah.
How often does she do that? Oh, I bet people hate when she comes to visit. She's like, hey, guys, I gotta go. Boom.
I think you used a little too much.
Yeah, that was one thing that made me crack up in the show. Trying to think, like the what's the name needs to quit getting captured.
Oh, the princess.
Yeah, it's like every 3 or 4 episodes she gets captured. So
that just shows the writers having a lack of imagination as far as what they could do with and to cause conflict. Honestly. Yeah,
because I'm like, the next time they capture her, they need to explain why people keep capturing her. Is it? I'm pretty sure it has to do with the Akashic records or anything. But it's like, capture her and actually execute something. Like, don't hang her from the ceiling and then she got saved again. We'll have to catch her in like 3 more episodes. I'm like, yeah, it's done. I've already seen that like 3 times. So, yeah.
Well, at least the reasons why they're capturing her are varied.
Yeah.
Like, the reasons why are different depending upon what they're doing. And the fact that they keep capturing her is an annoyance in itself. So
one thing that I didn't like was, so they had her captured, and like there's this glass display with like what they're trying to get from her, and then there was the one dude who was like manipulating his sister and all that kind of stuff. And then what's his name showed up and started like shooting the glass panel, and he's like, no! And then it disabled and everything. And then he started fighting him. And then something changed. And then all of a sudden he brought out 3 more girls. I'm like, why don't you just have them? Like, you already had a better. Well, I guess what's the name is stronger than this. I don't know. It's like it was.
He was saying though. It sounded like to me the way he was describing that is the fact that he needed her to be able to activate them, and it wasn't until he bought the other one bought enough time for him to be able to do that, then he had the actual better versions, is what he said.
Okay, because for him to be like, no, don't shoot my glass display. Oh, you shot it and bring out a better weapon. I'm like, that was kind of weird. Maybe I missed the activation part, but I don't know. It was just, I'm like, why didn't you do that first? So, but yeah, I'm hoping to see something really cool in the next series.
Yeah. So I mean, I think out of like all of these, are like maybe like what 3 or 4 that we probably actually really want to see a season 2 for, or a continuation, basically. I suppose that's decent enough for a season.
Yeah. Next season has a lot of shows.
It does. But see, next season's all new stuff, so except for like 1.
Yeah. So. All right. So that has been it for our discussion for the end of this season. Like we said, I think we covered like 14 shows for next season. So.
Oh God, yeah. It's just gonna be crazy.
Oh man.
I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to keep up, let alone Big D over there.
No, so I will definitely start all of them. I'll probably finish like 3, like I did this. But yeah, so we will be. Okay, so yeah, that's been it for today. We will be back in a month to talk about the summer season, checking out all the brand new shows. You can get in contact with us on Facebook and Twitter at TacoYaki Anime. So yeah, that's been Big D and Shade, and we will talk to y'all next time. Bye. Bye.
Because my God, this is an interesting summer season. That's for sure. It's like almost all new. Like there's only like what?
The universe that this lives in is freaking awesome because it seems like it has so much lore behind it, and yet you're looking at it going, just